Well, look, I mean, the state laws that are companion laws to things like what the Supreme Court just had to handle are a good idea. I mean, people need to start to. We can no longer rely on those with authority and power to figure out for themselves what the bounds and the boundaries are of that power in a digital age, because there are some things now that are sort of not. I mean, they're clear to me, but they're not that clear apparently to the government. And I think that this is an instance where we see finally that, one, the Supreme Court has ruled properly that you need to get a warrant. It is a pretty straightforward proposition. It is a straightforward reading of the Fourth Amendment. And I think states can follow suit now and add to that. By the way, one of the ways that we know that the right to bear arms is about an individual right to bear arms is because of companion, and Scalia wrote about this in the D.C. v. Heller decision, because of state statutes at the time of the founding and state statutes at the time of the signing of the Constitution that already said that it was about individual rights to bear arms, and that was the understanding at the time. It was not a collectivist approach to firearms. So anyway, Adam, good to hear that Missouri stepping up and trying to protect people's digital papers and effects, so to speak. I think that's something we need to see more of. Speaking of digital papers and effects, I got a perfect transition here. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, those guys who can show up and decide that the puddle in your backyard is a wetland, and now they're going to fine you $50,000 a day because you're not giving appropriate breadth and dignity to the double-speckled mallard of southern Durka. I don't know. Whatever it is that gets the EPA upset. I'm not sure Durka has a lot of mallards, but I'm coming up with this stuff on the spot. So the EPA is now joining yet another agency that says, bro, I totally lost those emails. So sorry. This is what Fox News is reporting, that there was a hearing called in response to allegations at the EPA of rampant employee misconduct, as well as a pattern of obstruction of oversight efforts by the committee. The EPA is now being accused of slow-walking several requests by the House committee to provide lawmakers with documents involving alleged employee misconduct on a number of thorny issues, including conflicts among the EPA, the Office of Inspector General, and agency management, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, as well as the EPA's action related to the veto of the controversial Pebble Mine project in Alaska. So guess what? Oh, this is a big surprise. Lawmakers at the hearing wanted to know about the emails that were lost from a hard drive crash at the EPA that wiped out some emails from former employee Philip North to his bosses over the controversial Alaska mine project. Oh, yet again. This is also, we talk often about precedent and legal precedent and also the precedent of principle. And that's an alliteration. That's as fun to say as I hope it is to hear. But when you allow the federal government to get away with the kind of shenanigans it is currently trying to get away with, and I think unfortunately is likely to get away with unless we really keep the heat on, other bureaucrats take notice. If one hard drive can disappear and get recycled, others could as well. You know, this is now a policy. They said that this was standard, right? So all you got to do is crash your computer, and then you take it down to the local dump, you go all Office Space on it, and you beat it with baseball bats while you play loud hip-hop music in the background, and boom, you're done. Finito. No more worries about your politicized use of bureaucratic power to stifle projects, to stifle dissent, do whatever it is you want to do. This is amazing. I should have known about this in the EPA, CIA. When I was in the CIA, this would have been great. Guys, I got an idea. We're going to run a covert action program. It's going to be really messy. We're going to violate the Constitution a lot. But don't worry. We're totally going to take our hard drives and we're going to, quote, recycle them at the end of this. And then we're just going to ask our buddies to be like, yeah, can't find those emails. Boom. How you like me now, Congress? What are you going to do about that? How are you going to get around that? I don't know. Not sure it's possible. You start to get the sense, by the way, we've talked a lot about legal cases today. You know, there's always the people versus, right? You know, the people versus insert. And, you know, oftentimes it's an individual's name or it's a group or what have you. But now we're starting to see that it's actually the people versus the government. When they write the people at the top of a docket, when they write the people at the top of a charging statement, it's actually the government bringing the case, right? The people is supposed to be the government. And that's every time there's a charge, state charge, federal charge, you know, the people versus. But we've actually started to see now that, no, it's actually the people versus the government, or rather the government versus the people. This is a shift in our thinking that is occurring right now. And just one more note on this. You have the EPA, you've got Lois Lerner saying, go get him. And someone else saying, whoa, Lois, easy on the caffeine. I don't think an invitation to a party is an excuse to audit somebody. But he's a Republican. Don't you get it? He's a Republican. He probably likes the Tea Party. And then you have the EPA saying they're losing hard drives. They're losing stuff. Guess what else you have? The VA is now, yet again, there's more. As you know, over 1,000 veterans may have died waiting for VA care. But there's now a nurse, Val Riviello, who was at the Albany Stratton VA Medical Center until last November when she started talking about what was, quote, barbaric stuff being done there, including a patient with PTSD who was restrained for 7 hours, put in restraints for 7 hours in violation of VA rules, and also the theft of 5,000 vials of morphine from a locked drawer, which guess what they did at the VA? They replaced that morphine with saline solution, i.e. salt water. And they gave that to veterans in need of pain management. It was a thief who stole all this stuff. But the VA just said, okay, we'll fill it in with something else. Let's just use some saline solution. You know, the veteran, I mean, so the guy has shrapnel in his shoulder and it puts him in intense pain. A little saline solution is going to take care of that. This is government health care, everybody. These are government employees. Take note. Of course, when she brought this to her supervisor's attention, all of a sudden this nurse working up at the Albany VA, she is put on 30-day leave without pay and is threatened and faced with civil and criminal penalties because she shared a patient's records with the patient's attorney. We're going to see more and more cases of this across the country. This was the culture within the VA. Okay, so they gave some good care to some veterans sometimes, but that's not good enough, as you know. And when we look at the times when they fell short, instead of trying to ameliorate it, trying to rectify, somehow make better the care they were giving, not make further mistakes, no, actually, they went hunting for sedition. They went hunting for those who would speak out against the poor level of care, against the, quote, barbaric, and I don't quote it because it's not barbaric. Those are her words, not mine. It is barbaric. Someone suffering with PTSD and you strap them to a gurney, immobilize them for 7 hours. Huh. There's your tax dollars at work. This is for veterans, mind you. Think of what they'd be willing to do to just you. I know many of you are veterans, but the non-veterans listening, non-veterans in Team Buck. Think about it. What would they do to you? They'll strap a veteran down to a gurney for 7 hours who has PTSD, let them just sit there and suffer and writhe in agony. But, hey, at least the government's paying for it, right? The people versus the government. This was all inevitable. This is the result of having a president in charge, of having a Congress that is dominated by on the Democratic side by the progressive far left. In the 1920s, these people were open communists. Now they've turned into progressives. But you know what? A lot of the same ideological connections exist. These are statists, these are authoritarians, and they make me sick. All right, we're going to have some fun when we come back. If you want to weigh in on anything, Broad Voice lines are open. Broad Voice gives us crystal clear clarity. My alliterations are flowing today. My alliterations are so lucid today. So make it happen. 888-900-3393. Team Buck, we're back. Got a lot to say.
Taking intelligence to a whole new level. Buck Sexton.
The Blaze Radio Network.
Buck Sexton.
So Judge Janine has her show Justice with Judge Janine. They very kindly have had me on that show. I enjoyed it very much, Saturdays. And they also, of course, the judge comes in. She's gives fiery monologues. And in one of her more recent fiery monologues, she took on the Obama administration, its feckless foreign policy. But Russell Brand, who some of you may or may not know, he's actually in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which I think is a pretty good movie, because I don't hate all movies, contrary to what some of you say. But he was good in that movie because he played a silly, self-indulgent, and feckless celebrity. But Russell Brand thinks that it's his position to give real political commentary on Judge Jeanine, so I'm going to comment on Russell Brand commenting on Judge Jeanine. Play the first clip we got here.
ISIS is a fanatical religious terrorist organization.
So's Fox News. He's a fanatical terrorist propagandist organisation. This isn't reasonable, is it? Like the way she's talking.
No, it's not reasonable.
Imagine, like, she's worse. Like when you see them videos of someone like with a thing on with a rifle, like going, "Hey, we'll bomb and bomb." You're like,
but I like. Oh, that's enough for that. I like how he can like make fun of. He can make fun of ISIS as like oh, blah blah Arabic gibberish, right? But like he's cool, right? He's got like tattoos all over his arms. He looks like a dirty wizard himself. You know what I mean? That's not like a big deal he's got there. He's, Fox News is just as bad as ISIS terrorists, you know. I mean, it's just wicked, man. Wicked. Next one.
Mr. President, you are playing a very dangerous game for which you are ill-prepared, and it is the American people who will suffer.
There you go. That's all the weather. Mostly, it was invective. Just incendiary language, just volatile, combative, angry language.
I've got like a thesaurus in front of my face right now.
I'm not being just sensational.
No, I'm not being
more dangerous
sensational.
than ISIS. That attitude, because that's far-reaching. That's really affecting millions and millions of people.
You see, what we're saying here is that Fox News is more dangerous than ISIS. It's like, because like Fox News is watched by so many people, whereas ISIS, they're just like sewing off heads, right? And stoning women because they want like a little makeout in the public square or whatnot. But ISIS is like not as bad as Fox News. You know what I mean? One more clip.
I thought it was going to be. This is awful. I was so excited. Were you excited? Well, yes, we can change all that.
I love Obama administration,
He's
of course.
plugged into a system that is charged with an energy that is corrupt. It don't matter who you plug into that system.
But you see, it's a classic celebrity here. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? He's like all the rest of them, because it's not Obama's fault. You see, because he's in a corrupt society, mate. It's a corrupt system. You see what I'm saying here? You know, it's like Obama. You plug and play, mate. It's like he comes right in there, and you got Obama. He's a good lad. I like Obama. Open change and all that.
Why do celebrities keep doing this? Read a book, you jerks. Stop trying to know about things about which you know nothing. And leave Judge Jeanine alone. I like her. She reminds me of like the teacher in high school that you never, ever wanted to make angry at you, because you would have gotten quite the talking to. I like Judge Jeanine. All right, let's take a call quickly from Joy in Kansas City. Joy, we got about a minute. What's up?
Oh, I just wanted to say thanks for everything you do. I love listening to you every day.
Well, Joy, I just want to say thank you for listening to me, because it means a lot. I put a lot into the show, and if people like you didn't listen, if Team Buck wasn't out there for me, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you very much, Joy.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
All right.
Well, I also wanted to say real quick that we can't forget about the IRS allowing their information to bleed into other organizations in the government. Remember, Catherine Ingbert from True the Vote got 15 investigations from the FBI, the IRS, OSHA, and ATF.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and that's why the federal Leviathan has to be broken down, and it has to be truncated. We can't just allow them to have the discretion and the continued growth that they have. But Joy, thank you for your kind words. That's like made my day. I appreciate it. Let's take Joe from California. Joe, I was a minute short before, but I actually literally do have a minute now. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's Shields High, Buck.
Shields High, what's up?
I would like to echo her sentiments. I've tried to turn people on to your podcast. You nail it. You nailed Russell Brand. You nailed the Clintons. You nailed Jon Stewart. And you nail the process is the punishment. The process is the punishment. And just a quick thing, maybe you'll get a chance to talk about it, but as if they don't have enough to do, the Federal Trade Commission launched an investigation into the Music Teachers National Association